welcome back to the Final Fantasy VII walkthrough. So obviously we've just obtained the buggy, which is pretty cool. Get to cruise around into some new areas here. I'm going to try to learn some enemy skills here, or at least one. This one, well, it's not the right battle. I think it took a couple of battles. Maybe I'll cut this stuff out. Yeah, let me do that. Let me do that real quick. Alrighty. So, yeah, nothing, I really didn't want to have a bunch of footage of me just fighting random junk enemies, and it did take a couple of these random encounters to get into battle with this. I think this is the Chimera. Oh, this is the Harpy, my bad. So, anyways, this guy has a enemy skill. I actually don't remember which one it was. We're going to find out here in a minute. But it also does have striking stabs, which we stole way back in the train graveyard in Midgar. So if for whatever reason you didn't steal one back then, you certainly can now. Alright, here we are. So this is Aqualung. This is multi-target, so I've actually got you know, both of my enemy skill materials equipped. One is on Cloud, one is on Aeris, so I've obviously been able to learn both of those. So now that I've learned that, I am going to get out of here. And we'll see if I end up using this limit break on this guy, but hopefully not. Good deal. Okay. Alright, so moving on. We're going to make a little detour here. And I'm actually going to go, I believe I went all the way back to, what is it? Like the swamp, I guess? Wherever the Midgar Zolom monster is at. I wanted to get beta on my second enemy skill materia, and actually grab a couple of more enemy skills, different enemy skills. Here is another pit stop here on the coastal area. I think we're looking for the Beach Plug. I believe that's the name of this enemy. They have another absolutely freaking fantastic ability. Man, I forgot how crazy the enemy skill materia actually is. So the Beach Plug, anyways, it casts an ability, and unfortunately you actually have to have the Manipulate materia equipped because that's the only way to obtain this. But they have the Big Guard enemy skill, which is, again, it's absolutely amazing. Not only does it cast a couple of barriers on you, so it's got like a barrier that increases your magic defense as well as your physical defense, but it also casts haste on your party. So again, absolutely insane ability. So let's get that used here, and boom. All right, so there we go. And again, being that I've got both of my enemy skill materials equipped, we have now learned it on Aeris as well as Cloud. So let's be on our way. All right. One thing on the enemy skill materia, my impression is that as long as how do I want to explain this? Basically, if you're looking for an enemy skill, what you can actually do if you don't want to try to like learn it on multiple different characters, because that can kind of be a pain in the butt with so some of the certain single target, excuse me, enemy skills like Flamethrower, for instance. So what I mean is that if you've got multiple enemy skill materials and you're trying to learn, again, we'll use Flamethrower as an example on all of them. What you can do is actually equip all of those enemy skill materials on one character. Now, the key though is that you cannot have Flamethrower on one of those enemy materials. So let's just say in this instance, if I had, you know, both of my enemy skill materials, I had Flamethrower on one but not on the other. If I equipped both of those enemy skill materials on the same character, and then an enemy cast Flamethrower on that character, they would not learn flamethrower on that second enemy skill materia. However, if neither of those enemy skill materias has the flamethrower ability learned, you will learn it on both at the same time. So, sort of a complicated way of explaining that, but the other thing that you can do is just, you know, put them on separate characters and then learn it, you know, on each. So up to you on how you want to do that, but that is a fairly useful trick. I believe it really only applies, I shouldn't say that, how do I want to put it? There is one enemy skill in the game, and again, it'll be much later, basically at the end of the game, where that knowledge is extremely useful, because most times enemies will cast certain enemy abilities or on multiple occasions. I'm not sure, by the way, why I went down this way. This is a dead end. I should not have. I wasted my time essentially coming down here. So, my bad. But while we're making this side trip and wasting time, I'll speak a bit more about the enemy skills. But anyways, again, so there's only, I would say there's 2 critical enemy skill abilities in the entire game where if you don't do things quite right, you won't be able to learn all of the enemy skills in the game. And again, one of them I would say isn't until the very end of the game, so it's not something that you'll have to worry about. But the second one is the enemy ability called Trine, and that we'll talk a bit about that here in a bit. We've got, actually, it's probably a couple of videos where it really becomes more applicable. And what I mean by that is just because of the way that the enemy skill materials are staggered throughout the game, it can create issues with mostly with just Trine. The rest of the enemy skills in the game are, obtainable regardless of where you're at in the story. So again, most of the enemy skills you don't have to worry about that. However, Trine is only used by, I believe it's 3 enemies in the entire game. And that's where the problem really lies. The first time, again, is coming up in about, I would guess, 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe somewhere around in there videos. I'm not sure exactly how many it's going to take to get to that point, but it is coming up. So stay tuned for that. But the important thing is when you do come across those bosses, to make sure you have your enemy skill materia equipped. Otherwise, what you can do is, well, I mean, to be honest, there's one optional boss, I would call him, and that's really the key to, learning Trine on all of your characters, because the final character that you can learn it from, you basically get to choose when you fight him. And that's going to be Godo in the, what is it, the Tower of Wutai or something like that. So again, but that's going to be quite a few videos, in quite a few videos you can actually fight him for the first time. However, I will not. I will hold off until I've obtained all of my enemy skill materials, and then at that point we will go face him and learn Trine on our 4th and final enemy skill material. So. Anyways, long story short, if you notice there, what you want to do with the buggy is, gosh, and I should have brought this up a little bit earlier, but sorry, I apologize. You actually want to drive the buggy into, whatchamacallit, Costa del Sol. Well, that was tough. It was tough to remember the name of that town. The reason for that is by driving it into Costa del Sol, you essentially take the buggy with you into the cargo ship. And then you actually get to drive it out of Junon. And that's important coming up here. But anyway, so we're actually going to learn our next enemy skill here, which is, again, another insanely awesome enemy ability called White Wind. White Wind not only removes all status effects, it's multi-target, and on top of that, it restores health based on the caster's HP. So, if the character that casts it only has 100 HP, it will only restore 100 HP to all of your allies. But again, it also will remove status effects. So it's more effective the more HP you have. So the cool thing is, say, again, say Cloud's got 2,000 HP, Tifa's down to 100, and then, well, who cares about your third character? In that case, if Cloud uses White Wind, he will be able to heal 2,000 health to Tifa, as well as your third character. But again, the lower the HP you have, the less effective it is. But you know, again, still pretty useful stuff. At this point, I believe I'm going to stop here at Fort Condor and do the next battle. I may actually cut out, I think I'm going to cut out all of the extra footage for Fort Condor, because at this point we have done quite a few Fort Condor battles. And I mean, to be honest, it really only takes one or two to really understand how Fort Condor works. And yeah, they add some new units here and there, but to be honest, the strategy just really doesn't change. You know, it's, well, try to defeat the enemies before they make it to the shed. So that's about it. Anyways, like I said, I am actually going to cut out all of this footage here, and definitely I'm not going to contribute any more to Guild. These guys have enough money. They're making me poor. But all right, anyways, I'm going to cut this. All right, so there we go. I'm just cut out all of the boring stuff in the battle here. Again, I just don't really feel like these battles. I did a fairly, you know, good, I would say, walkthrough on Fort Condor on our original trip here. But all right, so let's see what I actually get. I think this is the 4th battle that I won. Let's see here. Let's see what these rewards are. 11 allies left. Okay. 3 tincture. Yeah. So there, it's improperly labeled. You actually get, I think it's 3 ethers. I do like that they call them tincture though, because that's what they called ethers in Final Fantasy VI. So cool stuff. Anyways, so actually, if you've been paying closer attention to my guide, technically that was the 4th battle, but my previous encounter here at Fort Condor, what I actually ended up doing was redoing the battle, because I actually wanted to let the commander, or I wanted to fight the commander at the shed in order to get the Vagarisk Claw. And so that's why I'm actually technically, as far as rewards go, I'm kind of like, you could almost call it 1 reward behind. But, you know, to be honest, that doesn't really matter. What I'm really going to shoot for is the Super Ball, and that's 7 wins at Fort Condor. In my opinion, all the rewards after that are insignificant, and there's no real reason to bother. So again, that's what I'm going to be shooting for. But anyways, all right. So let's head up to the north here. I'm actually going to make my way to the Cave of the Sleeping Man. That's what I'm going to call it. I don't really know what else to call this spot. It's actually just a little cave with a guy that's inside, and he's normally sleeping, and he'll tell you some interesting facts about your battle stats, kind of. One of the hints that he talks about, actually, so basically he's talking in his sleep. But when you go up to him, he'll say something like, large materia needs high-level materia, or something like that. And he's actually referencing master materia, and we'll talk about that one probably when the time comes. But as of right now, that's not going to be important at all. It's a cool hint, no doubt. But all right, so let's have a stop in here and see what he's got to say. Large materia needs high-level materia. Well, thanks, buddy. I already knew that. And so, in order to make him say different things, you actually need to leave the cave and come back in. So he'll randomly, randomly generate a phrase when you walk in here. And so if he doesn't tell you what you want to know, leave and come back. All right, so we've already fought 454 times, and that is almost perfect. So he gives you actually rewards based on how many times you've fought. And what I mean by that is, it's actually based off of the last 2 digits of the number. So in this case, he said we've fought 454 times. Now, he will only ever wake up if the last 2 digits of that number match. So in this case, this next battle, this will be my 455th battle, we'll go back into the cave and talk to him, and he's actually going to give us a mithril. Now, that being said, there's 2 different rewards that you can possibly get from him, and it's dependent on, again, on those last 2 digits. If those last 2 digits are odd numbers, which is exactly what is going to happen here, being that they will both be 5-5, he will give us a mithril. If you were to come back here at, let's say, 466, he will wake up and give you, I believe it's a bolt ring instead. So bolt rings are kind of useful. They absorb lightning damage. So there are times where that's actually pretty useful. To be honest, though, those kind of accessories I really normally don't bother with. But there you have it. There's the mithril. The mithril is extremely important. I believe it ends up being a key item, and it's an item, unfortunately, we won't be able to use it for quite some time yet, but it is the item that's required to obtain Eris's level 4 limit break Great Gospel, which is an insanely awesome limit break. It's essentially a combination of both of her level 3 limit breaks. Not only does it completely restore your HP and MP, but it also makes you invulnerable for a short period of time as well. Unfortunately, though, like I said, we will not be able to obtain that for quite a while yet. The area that we will end up going to is basically, it's called the blacksmith's house. However, the blacksmith is not home until you've progressed far enough, essentially, in the game. So again, unfortunately, we won't be able to obtain that for quite a while yet, but that limit break is amazeballs. And actually what I ended up doing was, because I kind of wanted to, well, I guess, I don't know, you can say I wanted to obtain all the items in the game, but I also wanted to have an extra great, and it's called Great Gospel, by the way. I don't know if I mentioned that earlier, but that's the name of our limit break. All of the level 4 limit breaks are actually items. Except maybe Vincent's. I don't remember if his is actually technically an item or not. I don't remember. And then Ketchi actually doesn't have a tier 4 limit break, unfortunately. But anyways, the majority of the tier 4 limit breaks or level 4 limit breaks are items, and they will go into your inventory. And so what I wanted to do actually was just have an extra one, long story short. And so actually what you can do is immediately after you talk to and obtain your first Great Gospel, you can make your way all the way back to the cave. And again, as long as the last 2 digits are the same and they're both odd, you will obtain another mithril. And then you can take the mithril back to the blacksmith and he will give you another Great Gospel. So, long story short, that's what I ended up doing. Is it important? Obviously not. That Great Gospel limit break is not usable on anyone else, and essentially it will just sit in your inventory from now until the end of time. I don't even know if you can destroy them. I don't remember. Not that it really matters, but anyways, I am going to cut the video here. Basically what I just did here was leave the cave and then learned any of the enemy skills that I could on the opposite side here. So as always, thank you for watching, and hope you join me for more videos.